Alright, hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned Albino Plays the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy Episode 3. I did put a limiter filter on my mic, so I'm hoping that that might cut down on some of the louder voices and making them less... I don't know if it was really bad or not. I just wanted to make sure that, I was seeing the bar go into the red sometimes, and that's not supposed to happen, so... I think it should be better now. Let's do this. Court will now reconvene. Has our witness, Miss Olga Orley, recovered? Yes, Your Honor. Well, she's regained consciousness. Perhaps we can hear her version of the events again? That's the thing. You see, she's quite fatigued. You're looking a bit fatigued yourself, Mr. Payne. Sadly, fatigue is insufficient grounds for refusing to testify or prosecute. The defense would like to request that Miss Orley take the stand. Very well. The witness will take the stand. Perhaps you could repeat your name and profession? Or perhaps you'd rather admit that you're a poor liar and a poor loser. Not. Oh, let me guess, you're not actually Russian anymore? Yeah, okay. Name's Olga Orley. That's the truth. I'm a pro dealer. People call me Olga Quick Fingers Orley. Oh really? Want to know something else? I'm not really Russian, and my last name sounds like oh really. There, that's the truth. I hope you're satisfied. Oh, so your last name's O'Reilly? Wait, is she Irish then? Oh, okay. That's something. Witness, you will tell the court what you were really up to that night. Fine, I'll talk. We had a plan C. Let me remind you that you are currently under oath. Any further fabrications will have serious consequences. Fine. Like I said, I'm a pro. That guy, Smith, hired me to do what I do best. I was planted at the Borscht Bowl Club several days prior to the night of the game. As a waitress. So you were in cahoots with the victim? Not that he needed my help. Smith is a well-known poker player in some circles, but winning wasn't the main purpose of this game. It was about destroying a legend, the unbeatable Phoenix Wright. The plan was simple, elegant really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When their hands were revealed, Smith would call them out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card and the trap would snap shut. You swapped the cards. Exposed as a cheater and losing on top of it, it would have made a great double play. Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces. Indeed. Getting caught red-handed at cheating would cast doubt on all his prior wins. A 7-year legend destroyed by one little card. That was the plan. Oh really? How droll. But it appears you made quite the mistake. A mistake? I agree, the trap was elegant. Yet what happened to that planted card? Hey, that's right. He's lucky, I'll give him that. You'd have to be to slip free from a trap laid by Olga Quickfingers Orley. Oh, really? The witness would be much cuter if she dispensed with the evil mastermind shtick. Cute? Who wants to be cute? I'm not cute. I'm bad. You hear me? Bad! When you're through being bad, perhaps you could testify to the court? Tell us about this trap and how it was sprung. That night, I planted the card like I was supposed to, and Wright lost the last hand just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him. But the planted card was gone. The trap failed. The next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it. It wasn't me who hit Smith. It was that no-good cheating defendant. A surprisingly frank testimony that still leaves us mostly in the dark. The trap was perfect, I tell you, perfect, if that rotten cheater hadn't messed it up. Look who's talking. Well, the testimony, for what it's worth, is all yours, Mr. Justice. With witnesses like her, who needs criminals? And with defendants like Mr. Wright, who needs prosecutors? Alright, let's go over this with a fine-toothed comb, shall we? That night I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Wright lost the last hand just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him. Press. So everything went according to plan. Exactly. The fifth ace came up, so it's obvious the switch went off without a hitch. Once the extra card was found in his pocket, Wright would be forever known as a cheat and a fraud. There are worse things to be known as, I suppose. Tell us what happened with the search. But the planted card was gone. The trap failed. The card disappeared? Yeah, my trump card, the 5 of hearts. Gone, without a trace. Poof, zippo. We searched every nook and cranny, even inside his cute little hut. But the card was nowhere to be found, is this correct? Never in my long storied career, never has Quick Fingers O'Reilly been so readily duped. Oh, really? So what did happen? So what did happen to that 5 of hearts? Don't look at me. Why don't you ask that cheating, lying, two-faced defendant? So the 5 of hearts is still missing in action. Next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it. Wait, isn't that a little odd? What's odd? You searched Mr. Wright, thoroughly and found nothing? Which means he didn't cheat. Which means he had no reason to strike the victim. Well... What was that just now? I sensed something. Something wrong, Mr. Justice? No, nothing, Your Honor. What to do? Should I press her a little harder? But of course. Miss O'Reilly, you're hiding something. What are you talking about? You? Me? Quick Fingers O'Reilly? Hiding something? The defense will refrain from baseless accusations. I have one question for the witness then. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true? Of course it's true. I did see it, honest. I saw it when Wright hit him. With my own eyes I saw it. What's this weird vibe I'm getting? That witness, for instance, Miss O'Reilly. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Oh wait, that's him saying that. Did you notice? Oh, she's touching the back of her neck right now. Touching her neck, was it? No. Whoa, what's going on? This sensation. It's coming into focus. There, that twitch. It's so clear. It's like I could perceive her habit, like I couldn't before. Gotcha! Perceive. Oh, dude, are they adding frickin' body language to the proceedings here? That's gonna be crazy. Miss O'Reilly, perhaps you are unaware of this yourself. Unaware of what? Whenever you get to a certain part of your testimony, you touch the back of your neck with your left hand. My neck? So what? What indeed, Justice? I hadn't noticed anything of the sort. Oops, I use British now, I guess, for some reason. When I got like a bunch of different accents to do, they definitely start blending together. When she says that part of the testimony, she's subconsciously recalling something. Her body reacts to the memory, and she touches her neck. I'm sure of it. A memory? Would someone care to explain what he's babbling about? This is highly unusual, but let's ask the defense. You claim the witness is remembering something. Maybe you have evidence of this memory to show us? Her habit is scratching her neck whenever she talks about the moment of the crime. So what would remind her most of the moment of the crime? Miss O'Reilly, whenever you recall the crime that night, you scratch your neck. I've noticed it happens when you think about the moment of the crime. There must be some reason behind this habit of yours. I believe the weapon that left an inerasable impression on your neck is this. Whenever she talks about the moment of the crime, she touches her neck. and what reminds us more of that moment than this bottle, the murder weapon? But something doesn't fit. If you were only the witness to the crime, why would that make you touch your neck like you're in pain? Ooh, did someone hit her in the neck with the bottle? What's he talking about now? It was Mr. Smith, the victim, who was hit, not you. This is a cross-examination, not a cross-wild conjecture. The witness's habits? They're completely irrelevant. Justice, I'll admit I'm a bit confused myself. This is certainly a unique cross-examination. I'll explain later, just trust me. Now's our only chance to break her. Miss Orley, please testify in detail about the moment of the crime, the very moment. Yet, I am knowing nothing. We know you're not Russian. The witness will testify, please. Now. Bah, fine. He's the one who did it. I didn't let him out of my sight until the cops got there. Different personality, but the same testimony. I believe you have her where you want her, Justice. The circumstances have changed, yet her testimony has not. That means there's got to be a contradiction in there. Quite. Okay, I was put off because they was like right at the end of it still. Alright, lost the last hand, but the planted card, trap failed. Right, picked up a bottle and swung it. He's the one who did it. I didn't let him out of my sight until the cops got there. Ooh, that's false, because we know about Wright's cell phone. Well, okay, not like that, but yeah. Miss Orley, we have a record here that clearly contradicts what you said. It states that the police were alerted by a report from the defendant. And we know that the defendant left the room, climbed the stairs, and made that phone call from the first floor of the Borscht Bowl Club. So explain how you kept your eyes on the defendant when he left the room entirely. The man who picked up the bottle and swung it that night wasn't the defendant. It was the victim. Showdown time. You dirty cheat. Check his pockets now. It's gone. The card's gone. You lose. Oh. Just then, Smith grabbed the bottle from next to Wright, and he hit me. You... Some master of cheating you turned out to be. Eek. Well, then why would you defend him? Oh, is it because you're the one who killed him? Because he did that to you, so you killed him in, like, self-defense? But she's still trying to posit that she did not actually kill him. When I came to, the victim was already dead. Is that it? That's why I couldn't reveal who I really was. If it came out that I was in league with Smith, I'd be a suspect for sure. Well, where does this leave us? Madness. This is madness. I'm dreaming. It must have been me who was hit with a bottle, and I'm imagining all of this. It appears our prosecution is at his wit's end, and frankly, I can't blame him. Mr. Gavin, what do you think about this turn of events? Mr. Gavin, sir? I believe that, as the defense in this case, we are compelled to call Miss O'Reilly a big fat liar. Oh, what? 3 were in that room the night of the murder. The defendant, victim, and her. And she has a motive. A motive? Her plot foiled, the witness got into an argument with her client, Mr. Smith. Dude, I completely lost his accent. What the fuck? And the denouement of that argument was murder. What? I didn't. I'm no killer. It's a trap. Someone's trying to frame me. What tangled webs we weave when we practice to deceive. Oh, come on, that's something my mom says. So tangled, we catch ourselves in the process. Mr. Wright? Such a hasty conclusion. It's not like you, Christoph Gavin. What are you saying? Why not consider the other possibility? That there was another person in the room at the time of the murder. Right, like Mr. Wright was saying before recess. A single card was swapped into the victim's hand after the murder, and the one who swapped the card didn't know two colors of cards were being used. A fourth person. Ha! This theory again. Your fourth person doesn't exist. Indeed. That's why I decided to bring this case to court. Here, where there's no escape and no chance for deception. The perfect place to catch the real criminal. The real criminal? And we're in luck. A clue to the real criminal's identity was kindly provided for us. And right at the beginning of the trial, no less. Oh, what? Apollo, perhaps you know what I'm talking about? Sorry. Remember what I said. The fourth person who swapped the cards made one critical error. He or she wasn't considering the color on the backs of the cards. Right. But how could such an obvious mistake occur if the person was colorblind? The cards used for the last game were red. Yet there is one person here in our court who thought those cards were blue. Yeah, I had that impression too. But why? Well, Apollo, think you can figure out who it was? It's not me, I swear! Who is this fourth person? Dude, I must have completely missed if they did a hint to this. I did not notice anybody being colorblind. Why do I always get put on the spot like this? Let's hear what the defense has to say. Who was it? Who thought the cards used in the final game were blue? It has to have been Gavin? As I expected. Your eyes and ears are as sharp as your hair. I was right? Christoph Gavin, you were the fourth person that night. But of course Mr. Gavin knows the color of the cards. How would he? As you can see, the photo of the crime scene is black and white. You can't tell which of the cards are blue, the ones on the floor or the table. But look, you can see the colors in this photo. Yes, but when he said the cards were blue, it was well before this evidence came to light. It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim, yet it was only that, a game, in the purest sense. A competition, Your Honor. A competition? Yes, a test of wits, a silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their backs wreathed in blue flame, know its final outcome. I don't remember that. I remember that, but not that specifically. Well, Christoph? Mr. Gavin? Mr. Gavin, is something the matter? No, nothing. Excuse me, it was just so sudden. Right. You aren't seriously accusing me, are you? Oh, Christoph? You know even I'd never take a joke this far. This has gone beyond ridiculous, beyond dumb. This is insanity. The defendant accusing his own defense attorney of murder? I assure you I'm quite sane. But what possible connection could Mr. Gavin have to the victim? I wasn't aware that I had a connection to Mr. Smith either. Yes, but Mr. Gavin and the victim have never even met. Well, what if they have? Huh? There is a possibility, after all. They may have met that night before the game started. What are you suggesting? Is this the truth Mr. Wright was staying silent about? Well, only one thing to do. Mr. Wright, the defense would like to request that you testify to the court. The defense would like to request no such thing. Mr. Gavin? Testimonies must relate to the case. How could anything happening before that game of poker be related? I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Gavin. As I explained before, the defense believes that Miss O'Reilly... Am I to assume you speak for Mr. Justice in this? He is the defense, not you. Mr. Justice, the matter of Mr. Wright's testimony is up to you. Oh, okay. Does the court, in your opinion, need to hear Mr. Wright's testimony? Why, yes. This was Mr. Wright's strategy. He was planning this all along. And I intend to see it through. The defense would like to request that Mr. Wright testify to the court. A2, Justice? You would betray me, your teacher? I'm sorry, Mr. Gavin. This isn't about loyalty. This is about the truth. Very well. The defendant, Mr. Wright, will take the stand, please. That evening, Christoph and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Christoph left. When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. The girl was knocked out cold and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. That's when I made another phone call to defense attorney Gavin. Mr. Gavin, you were at the Borscht Bowl Club the night of the murder? I dine with him rather frequently. And he talked to the defendant on the phone directly after the murder? Quite against my will, I had become involved in a murder. I thought I might be in need of a lawyer, so I called him. You were planning this all along, weren't you, Wright? Just because you wanted to drag me into your little murder trial. The only thing I want is the truth, as I did back then and now. I thought my office was doing you a favor when we took on your defense. It appears that I was wrong. Very well. The defense may cross-examine the witness. Justice. Sir? He's lying, and you're going to expose him. Understood, sir. Mr. Gavin versus Mr. Wright. This can't end well. Why can't I have a normal trial? Alright, that evening, Christoph and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. We'll just press everything, I guess. You had dinner with Mr. Gavin? Yes, he dines with me at the Borscht Bowl Club quite frequently. We were enjoying a usual dinner at our usual spot, as usual. Usual? I always eat at the table closest to the piano. I see. Where Mr. Smith was sitting. So the plates and such on the table were from your dinner? Indeed, the remnants of my meal with Christoph. We dined for 2 hours, then Christoph left. After that, dude, who eats for 2 hours? Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Christoph left. Press. 5 minutes? So the two of them could have passed in the restaurant during that time? That would have been a fateful encounter, to be sure. He. Oh, Mr. Wright, what was it you said? Christoph Gavin and Shady Smith may have met? I believe I did say that. Here, I was all nervous about this meeting. And now we hear they just passed in the hall? That does seem a little weak as a pretense for murder. Oh, it would be, if that were all that really happened. Come on, Mr. Wright. What are you hiding this time? When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. Then how do your prints end up on the bottle? About this failed trap. This is the same trap that Miss Olga O'Reilly mentioned. I was really serious set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When their hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card, and the trap would snap shut. You swapped the cards. Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces. Yes, a harmless prank in essence. It was by a quirk of fate that I happened to discover it. A quirk? I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. The card she planted! Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game. Disposed? Where? There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. An empty bottle of grape juice? The murder weapon? Yes, I rolled it up and shoved it in. The colored glass makes it hard to see. A battle of wits between the deceiver and the would-be deceived. That sounds like terrific drama. A card inside the murder weapon? That's strange. Did the police miss it in their investigation? Maybe I'll take a look. Huh. I don't see anything at all, dude. Mr. Wright, the poker head of courtroom number 3 approves of this battle of wits. Please revise your testimony with this new information. I discovered the trap during the game, dispose of the card in the bottle. But I don't see... No clues here. I don't see a card in the bottle at all. I feel like you're capping me right now. Is there like a new version of it? No. I guess I'll save and just, like, use the bottle, and the fact that I don't see a card in there is, like... Objection! Okay. Mr. Wright, if I may? Yes? I've examined the bottle, and I don't see any card in here. No? What, Mr. Wright? Surely ellipses isn't all you have to say for yourself. I can't say that I know what happened to the card. I did put it in that bottle, however. Huh? Perhaps a 5th person came and took it out? Oh, and a 6th person could have helped. Mr. Gavin, Mr. Wright is your client. My apologies, Your Honor. I won't have you disparaging our investigation either. We looked inside that bottle. There was nothing. So what's going on? Is Mr. Wright hoodwinking us again? Or did the card just disappear? In any case, please continue the cross-examination. I'm afraid decisive contradictions call for decisive evidence. Oh! Push him harder, Justice. Break him. It's just you and the witness in the ring. Go for the KO. Why do I get the feeling we're not on our client's side anymore? Alright, we sat at the table in his photograph, walked in 5 minutes, discovered the trap. The girl was knocked out cold and Smith was uncontrollable. Explain this more to me. You made the call to the police from the 1st floor of the restaurant, correct? Exactly. Cell phones don't get a signal down in the hideout. Was anyone else on the 1st floor at that time? Not a soul. It was the middle of the night, after all. So there, in the darkened restaurant, I called the cops. After making the call, I returned to the hideout. It didn't seem right to leave the injured waitress alone. Okay, but you left her alone to go make the call. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. But he was hit with a bottle that would not leave a cut. Can I just present the picture of his thing as a... like this right here? Or the autopsy report, even? Like one of the two? Okay, this seems like I should save then. I always, like, If, like, there's two different things that seem like they would refute the thing, it's never the one that I pick first. I'm gonna say... I mean, like, that's not a cut, man. Okay, that did not work. That didn't work either, dude? Do I have to press him? Like, this literally a contradiction, it's not a cut. Alright, let's press him then. And when you returned, the victim was already... dead, yes. I'll admit, I was a little startled when I walked in. Little? He was bleeding from his forehead, after all. I guess I'd be startled too if I walked in on a scene like that. That's when I made another phone call to defense attorney Gavin. Can you... Let's press this. Could you explain why you called Mr. Gavin? I'd obviously gotten involved in a rather sticky affair, and I figured Kristoff's law offices would give me a friend rate for my defense fees. Ah, glad to hear you intend to pay. Oh, I'll pay in full, Kristoff. It was I who got you involved, after all. You may find the price of your defense quite high, my good friend. Quite high. Is this the truth that Mr. Wright was talking about? Justice, you know what you have to do. He's lying. Expose him. Now. Yes, sir. I have to think. What's Mr. Wright trying to tell me with this testimony? The truth has to be in there somewhere. So then what the hell, man? Present crime photo 1 at the original 5th statement. Ah, man. Crime photo 1. Yeah, because this doesn't look like that's what's happening. It looks like he just got knocked out. Like he was drugged. Mr. Wright, if I may. Yes? Take a look at this photograph of the crime scene. See the victim here? He's wearing a hat. I wouldn't think you could see blood on his forehead. Good point. Justice, next time you point out an inconsistency, put a little more oomph into it. Mr. Wright, can you explain this to the court? Ah, I forgot to mention something. I was the one who put that hat on his head. Huh? You? You put the hat on the dead man's head? He wore it through our entire poker game. After calling the police when I returned to the scene, his head was in full view, shining bright, just like in this photograph. And? I picked his hat up off the floor and put it on his head. Why'd you do a thing like that? All I can say is, I'm sorry, but that's the only thing I touched at the crime scene. So, Miss O'Reilly didn't see it? It being the victim's, his head. I'd think not. She was out cold. I believe I was the only one who witnessed his head. Ah, here we go again. Mr. Gavin? Pardon. It just seems that our client is determined to lie his way through this case. Hey, he's still our client, isn't he? I believe that's enough of that. Mr. Gavin? This witness's testimony is more like a travesty. It's riddled with lies. I'm beginning to see how you came to lose your attorney's badge 7 years ago. Well, you certainly have a unique way of treating your clients, Kristoff. I never knew. I believe it was you who threw the first stone. Mr. Wright, if you intend to ever tell the truth about this case, it's now or never. Don't be misled. I haven't told a single lie here. Huh? When I noticed the trap, I put the card in the bottle to dispose of it. And when I put the hat on the victim's head, let's just say I had a reason for doing that as well. A reason? That reason is right here. Your cell phone? That night, recall that I spoke with defense attorney Gavin after calling the police. Just in case, I recorded our conversation. What's this? Now that we're all here, I see no reason why I shouldn't play it back for the court. Kristoff, I seem to be in a bit of trouble. What's this? Game not going well? Something like that. That gentleman who challenged you, he turned out to be good? He turned out to be dead. Someone hit him, hard. You mean someone cracked that flawless bone china pate? It wasn't you, was it? Me, please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands, should it come to that. Bone china plate? Oh, plate. Did I say plate? Okay. A kind of porcelain, very smooth and shiny, and not plate, but pate. I believe he was referring to a certain gentleman's balding forehead. The court appreciates the defendant's discretion in not indicating my forehead. Wait a second. Something's not right about that phone call. So, after Mr. Gavin ate dinner with you, he left the Borscht Bowl Club? Most certainly. Then, how did he know? When did he see this bone china pate? Oh, that's right. Yes. That was when I began to see my good friend in a different light. Troubled, I returned to the crime scene, and when I spotted Mr. Smith's head again, I realized exactly what was wrong. Well, Mr. Gavin, the stage has been set. Perhaps you would like to explain this to the court? Exactly how did you come by your privileged knowledge of the victim's head? So, this is your reason. The reason why you put the victim's hat back on. Your point, Mr. Gavin? It's come down to this, has it? Phoenix Wright? Order. I will have order. Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor. I believe this court has been left with no other choice. Are you prepared to hear Defense Attorney Gavin's testimony? Well, as the prosecutor, Very well. We'll break for 10 minutes, after which Mr. Gavin will take the stand for a cross-examination. Are we all clear on that? Crystal clear, Your Honor. Oh, whoops, that wasn't you. Very well. This will be the final recess for the day. All right, they're accusing defense court attorney Gavin of the murder, and we're going to find out how that plays out in the next episode. That's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.